Hello, this is Kade, and this is Project CW, or Cold War, or CW Project. Depends on which order you put these things in, whether you use the old name or not. Primarily, it is known nowadays as Project CW, and it is one of the many studios under the wargaming umbrella that is currently developing this game. The status right now of the game is in its first closed, fairly open alpha test. Like almost anybody who wanted to get in could get in because they have invited tens of thousands of people. It's a wargaming title. Wargaming has the resources to just have a lot of testing done because they can just pool up servers because they have contracts in place to do that. Now, what is Project CW? Well, Project CW is a hero shooter with tanks. That is the best way to describe this game. This is not your traditional tank game. Instead of having just tanks that we unlock, we are actually unlocking agents, and each of these agents comes with their own form of equipment. And this equipment ranges from looking very historically accurate to being slightly ridiculous and silly, to being historically accurate with just silly stuff strapped on top of it. There is a very wide range of stuff, and each of these agents also comes with a bunch of abilities. Two of these you will find on all of them, whether or not they are finished or not. So this would be a passive ability, which will be different depending on the tank and will generally fit the role that they're taking, and their primary fire. So this can be a single shot, can be a burst fire mode, a charge shot, or a AGTM. You also notice that they are set up in 3 different categories. So we have attackers, defenders, and fire support. Attackers are primarily sort of brawler flankers type tanks. They excel in closer quarters when they are able to get around their enemies and attack them from the side and the rear and swiftly dispatch them. So a attacker that catches you off guard can really quickly deal with you and then move on towards their next victim. They are not long-range tanks, so you don't want to be playing them at range. You want to get in close and personal with these people and give them the bad news. Then you have the defenders. The defenders are the heavy brawlers, the big boys. They are sitting on caps and they are holding caps and they are defending the caps. Hence their name, the defenders. They have strong armor, primarily of course on the front, as most tanks do. So they can bounce a few shots and they have a lot of hit points, so they can take a lot of damage. They can heal it back up, and they have a lot of abilities surrounding their own healing, survivability, denial, and things like that. Like the attackers, however, the defenders do not want to be fighting from range. They have a very steep damage drop-off when it comes to range combat. So they want to get in close and deal with enemies up close. And then finally, we have the fire support category. Now, fire support can primarily engage from range. Some of them will do better when they are brawling, so definitely an option, and some of them can easily do both, like Jaeger over here, depending on how you set them up. Very good sniper, very good brawler. But one thing is in common with the fire support vehicles is that they're very, very fragile. They can often get one-shot very easily. In return, they can quite often one-shot other targets as well. And they do not have a damage drop-off at longer ranges. So, very much hero shooter. Different categories, different specialties, and when you're going into the game and play the game, you want to see these different roles being played properly, so you don't want to see your defender sniping, because they're going to be absolutely useless because they don't do any damage and they're not making use of the fact that they can take hits and survive and allow your team to claim the capture points. When it comes to gameplay modes, there are currently 3. So we have a plant and defuse. So if you played CSGO, you will know this one very well. We have a classic sort of domination, 5 capture points, 10v10 or 12v12, forgot the top of my head. Get 2000 points to win. The cool thing here is they added in additional challenges, so these can pop up at any time. So sometimes you have like kill 7 enemies first. That team will get 300 extra points. Or they will do an airstrike on a capture point, which means anybody in a radius will get killed if you stay there. And then a capture point gets to be reset, and then you can recapture it to, of course, once again start gaining points from it. And they also have a King of the Hill domination mode, where it's just 1 capture point. Your team holds it, your team gets points. Simple as that. This last one, I will show you a match by the end of this video, where I played Jaeger in a very nice sniper position. So those are your agents, those are your gameplay modes. What else is important to know when it comes to playing CW? Well, it is a wargaming title, and like most of the tank games, there is a upgrade path for your tanks. And these upgrades are very important in making these machines shine. Some of tanks are really bad when they have no upgrades and get really good when they get the upgrades, and others are more gradual. But overall, a level 10 tank is going to perform a lot better than a level 1 tank. So these upgrades come over here, so one for each level. You can select from different ones. There are also then consumables, and you also have perks. So when you look at these upgrades, you will notice quite often that they are tailored towards your different playstyles. So for example, mine is set up here for sniping, so I've got like -10 reticle size when I'm standing or after shot, so my accuracy is going to be better. I can also go with a first visual ever, just more reload speed. I do more damage, so I trade accuracy for a higher potential DPM. But maybe if I do a lot of brawling, I want to be able to turn my turret swiftly, so I can get some additional turret reverse speed. We also have things that are like shells, so I can have different sorts of shells, and these shells will do different sort of things. So a crit multiplier, additional module damage, so you're having a higher chance of hitting critical hits. And with some more shell speed, it makes it easier to land your shells if you're not very good at leading your shells. This one over here is just primarily a little bit more module damage and a lot more speed, so if you really can't aim, you probably use this. Or in my case, I use this Cruciate shell, just more damage. Not sure what the penetration really does, more module damage, but it's fairly slow. But if you can land your shots, you can hit them, this is going to be your most rewarding option, so that's the reason I'm running it. So you have different choices then throughout all of your upgrades. And the same here with your perks, they will just enhance your game in certain areas. So I go with, again, more accuracy, but you can do more reverse speed, good for, you know, peeking in and out of a position. Energy regeneration can also be useful. The reason you want to use energy is in your abilities. So your abilities will cost energy. So smoke grenades will take energy, and my decoy will cost energy. And I will show you those in the game once we're playing that, or when we show it in the firing range. So yeah, upgrades as usual, some consumables, so fairly standard. You want to have your repair kit, allows you to heal back up any damage. You can also get a energy booster, so you get more energy, fire extinguisher, med kit, stim pack, additional reload, and some of these are unique to certain tanks, like for example, Jaeger over here can get a echo pulse, which is almost like another ability that you can use, and this allows you to detect any tanks that are very close to you. So upgrades, very important, very traditional for a tank game, not very traditional if you come from a hero shooter background, where generally your hero is what they are, and the only thing that you unlock really is cosmetics. And speaking of cosmetics, yes, of course, there are cosmetics. Currently, this is like some charms for your tank. There are different 2D camouflages, stuff like that. So, and paint. You can play around with it, and of course a lot more of this is going to come out when the game is closer to a release state. So before I go into the match, I'm going to show you a few things on the firing range, which is very important to understand how this game operates and plays, and also shows why the skill ceiling may be deceptively high. So before we show those details while this is loading, most tank games, most hero shooter games, one of the core skills that you're going to need is map knowledge. Map knowledge is just about everything in a lot of games. So being in the right place can make or break your gameplay experience. However, if you ever played World of Tanks, then generally it's just like shoot stuff, do damage, and you can get some criticals, but it's very RNG dependent. If you play War Thunder, then you know shooting tanks in certain places is going to be very important, and that's very much the same here as well. So if we take a look at these targets here, they're all Titan defenders. Let's take 3 shots at a couple of these. Now, like with all of tanks, your shot damage is going to be a certain number, and it's going to have a RNG factor up and down from that number. So you will see that the numbers are going to be changing a little bit around. So here we have done about half damage to this Titan in 3 shots. Let's take a look at this Titan over here. Boom, that's already, you can see, a lot more. We're doing probably around 2x the damage that we were doing, or even more than we did to that other Titan earlier by shooting them in the front. These are your critical hits. Critical hits are very, very important when it comes to be playing this game. You always want to be able to do critical damage to your enemy tanks in order to get your damage numbers done properly and actually dispatch them very swiftly. So you can see here 3 shots was enough to kill this tank, which is the same one as over there, which is still has half HP. We also have another one here. So how about we try and shoot this one in its third ammo rack on the back here. 2 shots, a little bit unlucky with the RNG, but you can see we could have killed this one in 2 shots if the RNG was a little bit better. But of course, if you don't aim properly, you can also bounce, as we saw happening there. So it is very important to know where to hit your targets, and it is also going to be rewarded where you're going to hit your targets, no matter what you do. You can of course also try and ram them. Ramming does a fair amount of damage, but now I have taken damage. What do I do? Well, we just heal up. And this is of course a very different thing than playing a World of Tanks or War Thunder. We are playing an HP based game, but we can heal ourselves back up. And depending on what tank you play, you can have different cooldowns on your heals and different amounts that are going to get yourself healed. So your HP is something that is actually a resource and that you can use in order to get the most out of your tank. That's something you definitely want to keep in mind whenever you're playing this game. So use your hit points wisely. And the other cool thing with this game is that of the 3 game modes, 2 of them allow you to have unlimited respawns. Both domination game modes will just mean if you die, you respawn. It doesn't cost you anything, you just respawn and you try again. Only with your plant and diffuse, you do not get any respawns per round because it's best out of 5. If you die in a round, you're out because that's part of that particular game mode, of course. So those are the most important basic abilities and knowledge that you would want to have from playing Project Cold War. And it will show you that if anybody knows what they're doing, they can position themselves well, they can aim their shots properly, they can have a much larger impact over somebody who is in a poor position and is just shooting tanks somewhere. It's like, oh, I've got him from the side, I can shoot him anywhere. Well, yeah, sometimes you can, but with other shots, if you don't land them in the right spot, you're not going to get all that much out of it. It can literally be a factor of 3, sometimes almost 4x the damage difference, knowing where to hit your enemy. So there's going to be a fairly high skill ceiling in this. And even more so when you realize that in the game, especially if you're playing the brawlers, things happen very, very quickly. So you may be shooting on the move and you can get unlucky like that. Or maybe you're just like, okay, I need to stop, hold, see, aim, shot him there, and oh, I'm not doing anything. I just hit the armor. Bad luck. It happens. But if you know where to hit, and you know when to hit them, and you know how to read people, where they're going to move, you know where the map is, you're going to be doing a lot of damage to people. And you're going to have a big impact in the match that you're going to be playing. So, with that all said, let's go ahead and take a look at a match that I've played earlier. So here we are, we're loading in. King of the Hill, 1 point capture, 6v6, 2000 points to win. The cool thing with this match is that the actual capture point is over there on the left, where you can see it's currently that lock icon over it. And this is actually traditionally the sniper spot for people that are playing sniper tanks in this game. That's the capture point we go for, and we try to snipe from there. However, with the capture point being this King of the Hill style, I don't really want to get onto that capture point. I am very, very fragile, I can easily get one shot. So I'm going to make use of my sniper setup and play from the hilltop over here instead. The hill allows me to pull back down from the hill and do some other, keep myself safe, heal myself up if I need to, and then pull back on top of the hill and take my shots. So I moved myself over in position here, and you can see a little bit of a white spark there earlier on the right. That white spark was the glare of a scope of somebody that was looking in my direction. Try to take a pot shot at him, miss him, mark him for my team so that they know that there's something going that way. And, well, considering he's behind the buildings, I'm going to ignore him for the moment. I'm just going to see if there's anything else I can shoot at. We have a Jaeger there. Sadly, he just moved backwards as I shot, so I miss his ammo rack. Still do some damage, but I pull back because I know that this guy is here. Map knowledge, awareness. He's brawling there with my teammate. My teammate manages to force him back a little bit. He gets out of it first. We get a nice engine shot. We get our first kill. With my flank secure, I can move back on top of the hill, and I see this Akira. No luck there, really, as far as any criticals, but still we do some damage. And I pull back. Wait for my reload. I don't want to overexpose myself here for the moment. So I just shoot, pull back, shoot. Let's try to see if he pulls back out. He doesn't. I check on the left. Anybody flanking there? Nothing flanking there. Scanning around over the map. Do I see anything? Yes, we have something under the bridge there. We saw another scope glare. I miss it, however, here, but then I see it move in, take a shot. It's Uderik again. We don't get any criticals, but we do some damage. I take a look around. Nobody trying to be sneaky, flanking on the way around. Good. Pull back into a firing position. Uderik is there. He takes a turn, and we get a nice engine critical on him. He is not doing very well. He's taken a lot of damage. However, he's out of sight, but a Titan just pops up in our view there on the capture point itself. Again, rear shot, high chance for fuel or engine hits. We take it, we do the damage. Uderik tries to take a sneaky spot there behind the building, but exposes himself a little bit. We take a shot. Somebody drops smoke. What do? I've got a thermal imager. I can look through smoke, unlike most other tanks. So I activate that to see if there's anybody in that smoke. We don't see anybody. No point in sticking around there. We have a Jaeger here. We take a shot. Sadly, we hit him in the turret ring. No ammunition hit for us. Still, second shot here. With the 8 of our team, we've secured ourselves a kill. And Uderik shows up here again on the left. As we respawned a couple of times now, but he's pulling behind the buildings. No point in trying to keep looking at him. Let's just go ahead, pull up a little bit higher, see if we can get ourselves a few more shots at any potential enemies. Akira seems to like that corner, pulls in and out of there frequently and will continue to do so. Somebody driving over the hill on the wrong side. And this is one of those things that you always want to keep in mind. If you're going to try first open terrain, make sure that you do so ideally within at least concealment, or if not that concealment, full cover. So try to drive on the other side of the hill. This time around, double critical, we dispatch a Titan very quickly. And that allows our team some more breathing room. Now we see that there's on the left, there's a bit of action. Blitz is over there trying to be sneaky. Blitz, of course, like us, is a fire support tank, but it can also work really well in those brawling positions. We spot ourselves another Jaeger. We try to go for the side ammo rack. Sadly, shot went a little bit too far to the front, so we missed that. See if we can do another one. We missed the ammo, but we got the engine ammo rack there. So, not the ammo rack, we got the engine hit. Sadly, another kill. Somebody else took it, but we'll take it. Jaeger is out of the match. Akira has respawned. Try to move in. We put a shot, missed him, and well, whatever, he's out of our sight. Let's go for this other Jaeger. I misjudged my first shot there. Now Jaeger here suddenly starts to be, okay, I'm getting shot at, tries to reverse out, stops, and that stop actually saved him there from getting one shot, because it meant that my hit didn't even go for his engine, fuel, or ammo rack, but I just hit his track. Now I pulled back here, and I activated my repair kit, but I did not check my left flank. Blitz was there, hit me, and because of that my repair got reset. This is another thing you need to keep in mind. If you cannot repair when you take damage, so the moment you take damage, your repairing ability stops. So instead of being able to repair, I use my decoy in the hopes that somebody would shoot that instead of me, and it allows me to just stick around here, take the risk, because I know even if I die, I can respawn. At least this way I can stay in the game, keep my gun in the game, and keep fighting. Now Chopper over there does a very Chopper thing, and that is forgetting that they can get outflanked very easily, and that ammo rack on the turret is a really easy target. So thank you for that. Easy kill. Blitz over here. We got a nice little fuel hit on him. And he is now forced to pull back. And we can see that our team is pushing towards these people over on the left side of the gap here from our perspective to dislodge them from that area. Uderick back in, moves on the cap, trying to hold it. And yeah, did not get far because he was taking far too much damage. If your HP is low, just pull back and heal up and try to shoot from like a little bit of safe space. There's no point in trying to rush in because you're not going to make it. Long distance, Blitz is there trying to get a long distance shot in, but yeah, standing still under the Jaeger is not a good thing to do. Single shot, ammo rack hit, Blitz is dead in one go. We're happy, we're seeing Jaeger again, we're trying to go for that ammo rack, we missed it, and that's the end of the game. Again, you'll see here, like it is a very, very quick game. Damage happens fast, movement is fast, and the matches themselves are really fast. So, that is Project CW. Your hero shooter tank game. Very quick, very fun, runs really well for an alpha. Like, performance is amazing. Crashes, absolutely minimal. I think I crashed 2 times in a match and 1 time when I was in the menus, which for an alpha is really, really good. Developer interactions is also really good. Developers are talking on Discord time to time, and they're also clearly listening to the feedback that's being provided. They're making big changes in balance patches, sometimes even on a daily basis. So they're clearly working with the community, learning from what is being provided by them in the form of feedback and of course in data, and implementing changes into the game as a result of this. So my opinion on Project CW in its current state is really, really good. It is of course going to be a game under the wargaming umbrella, which sadly does bring with it a fairly high amount of negative baggage. That said, I think fair to say that most of the wargaming titles, the big ones at least, initially were just really fun and they just got worse over time. Something that may happen as well to Project CW, it may not happen. Well, I definitely think that this is a game that has quite a bit of promise and should bring you a couple of years of good fun. So if you're interested in it, I would say join the Discord, join the newsletter, keep an eye out on when the next test is going to be and just sign up for it. Most people, as I said, got their codes. They invited tens of thousands of people into this alpha. So your chances are really, really high. The only thing I would say is if you're going to be joining any game in an alpha or in a beta, do provide the developers with your feedback. Like if they ask you to fill in surveys, fill out those surveys at a bare minimum of the feedback that you provide. Ideally also on the Discord, you know, talk to them, give your opinions and stuff, open up the topics whenever they're available, respond to their main topics with your thoughts as the test one goes on. Give them that information so that they can use that to make the best game that they can make. So yeah, there is my overview of the Project CW first alpha. I hope you found it interesting and informative, and I will personally be keeping an eye out on this game. For you, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.